French President Emmanuel Macron has sent what he called a private message to U.S. President Donald Trump, offering to host a surprise G7-style meeting in Paris. The message, later shared publicly by Trump, proposed a summit on January 22nd where Russia could be invited on the sidelines, alongside Ukraine and Denmark. Macron's outreach comes amid rising tensions following Trump's threat to impose new tariffs on European countries over his push to acquire Greenland. In the message, Macron addressed Trump as "my friend," stressing alignment on Syria and suggesting cooperation on Iran despite disagreements elsewhere. Macron told Trump he did not understand what the U.S. president was doing on Greenland, calling the issue a source of growing friction. The French president proposed inviting Ukrainians, Danes, Syrians, and Russians to parallel discussions around the G7 meeting. He also extended a personal invitation for Trump to have dinner with him in Paris before returning to Washington. Moreover, Trump also shared a screenshot of a message from NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, praising Trump and saying he was committed to finding a path forward on Greenland. Trump posted screenshots of the exchange on his Truth Social platform, though his own replies were not visible in the shared images. The post came as European leaders prepared emergency talks in Brussels following Trump's renewed tariff threats. Those threats target 8 European countries and are framed by Trump as leverage over the European Union's stance on Greenland.
First, let me recall the President's statement where she said, "We stand firm in our commitment to uphold the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. We will always protect our strategic, economic and security interests. We will face these challenges to our European solidarity with steadiness and resolve." End quote. Now let me emphasise that intensive consultations are ongoing among EU leaders. President Costa has indicated the likelihood of an extraordinary European Council this week to tackle this very subject. It's clear from the consultations among EU leaders, including President von der Leyen, that the priority here is to engage, not escalate, and avoid the imposition of tariffs. Why? Because this will ultimately harm consumers and businesses on both sides of the Atlantic. The EU has consistently underlined its shared transatlantic interest in peace and security in the Arctic, including through NATO. In response to your questions, Jorge, should the threatened tariffs be imposed, the European Union has tools at its disposal and is prepared to respond, because we will do everything necessary to protect EU economic interests. I think it was very clear from the President's post on social media yesterday that the objective here is to avoid an escalation, find a solution that works, and ultimately to avoid the imposition of these tariffs, which serve no good and will ultimately only hit consumers, in particular American consumers. So we're looking to avoid that outcome. A meeting of EU ambassadors took place yesterday. Contact is ongoing at the highest levels, of course, to understand the parameters of this problem, to put together a coordinated EU response. And I think that's the key point here. If I was to summarise what the Commission wants to achieve here, we want to make sure that the maximum amount of EU unity and solidarity is maintained so that we are in the strongest possible position to achieve the outcomes I have mentioned.
Relations between Trump and Macron have deteriorated sharply in recent days, reaching a new low earlier this week. Trump threatened to impose a 200% tariff on French wine and champagne after France declined to join his Board of Peace. When asked about Macron's refusal, Trump said the French leader would soon be out of office and suggested he was unwanted. Trump claimed the tariff threat would force Macron to comply, though he added the French president did not have to join. Macron has publicly denounced the tariff threats as unacceptable, warning that they would escalate economic and diplomatic tensions. Notably, a video of Macron calling Trump to share news of Zelensky accepting a 30-day ceasefire went viral last year, capturing Trump's excited reaction as he joked about a Nobel Prize. Trump's remarks about Greenland have alarmed European leaders, who view them as a challenge to sovereignty norms.
How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S. takeover?
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor, okay? I would like to make a deal, you know, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. And I'm a man, and by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too. I have to tell you, and you know, they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but you know, the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also, but we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. Please, go ahead, ma'am.
On Greenland, Mr. President, why is it so important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect the security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. And, you know, with a nation, look at what happened with Obama, with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership, you don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. It's not going to happen. We are not going to have, and I like China, I like Russia, I love the people of China, I love the people of Russia. I get along very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. Not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't.
Denmark has firmly rejected any discussion of selling Greenland, calling it non-negotiable.
I would like to express my deepest gratitude to you for your incredible support and kindness. Words cannot fully convey just how much your help has meant to me. Please accept my heartfelt thanks for everything you have done, as your generosity has made a significant difference. I am truly overwhelmed by the warmth and care you have shown. Thank you very much for your time. The current situation is extraordinarily grave and deeply concerning, and the complex geopolitical interests involved have put an overwhelming amount of immense pressure on our country and its people. Yes, and my answer to this will not be very long. We remain united and stand firmly together in this difficult situation. Right now, we are in the midst of a major geopolitical crisis. Greenland is not for sale and will never be owned by the USA. Greenland will not be governed by the USA. Greenland will not be a part of the United States of America. We choose the Greenland we know today, which is an integrated part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Now, we are currently confronting a strategic geopolitical crisis, and if we have to choose between the USA and Denmark here and now, we choose Denmark. We choose NATO. We choose the Kingdom of Denmark. We choose the European Union. This is certainly not the time for internal political discussions and domestic division. This is the time to stand united and firm together and build on the community we know and the one we want. That's why we go into the room together, we leave together, and we engage in dialogue with the American people together. Greenland, as part of the Kingdom of Denmark, is a member of NATO. We have an immense amount of unwavering confidence in the NATO alliance, and we know that NATO fully supports and stands behind us in this situation. But the support from Europe and Denmark is also vital, absolutely crucial in this particular.